Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferret 64 podcast with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret 64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. And today, we have a nice, healthy episode for you. I finished a game that I've been working on since October, being Pokémon Legends Z-A, so we'll talk about that. Also, was playing more Arc Raiders this week, and a new indie game. All that coming in the What I've Been Playing section. We got some news today. Lots of AI. Well, I guess I got a couple of stories for AI news and some other things as well. And we got some fun games coming in the coming soon section. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we dive into this past week's news and occurrences. Starting off with, what have I been playing this past week? All right, as mentioned, I finished up Pokémon Legends Z-A. And this game almost had the same route as like Metroid Prime 4 for me, where it started off in a pretty good spot, and about halfway through the game, it started to lose me, and then by the end of the game, I was just kind of annoyed going through the final process, the final part of the game. So, I don't want to say that it was like a completely negative experience, but there were things about the game that just really started to irk me. And if you've heard my other thoughts on the game, you know that like I enjoyed the battle system. I think the battle system's pretty good. Even though it kind of turns into a little bit of a button mashy kind of scenario, it does require a little bit more thought than that. Especially when you're going up against Pokemon who have attacks that take longer to materialize and stuff like that. So, I felt like the battle system was pretty good. I don't know if I'd want this battle system in every single Pokemon game, but for for Pokemon Legends Z-A being more of a spin-off of the Pokemon series, I think it's a pretty nice departure from the turn-based style that has been in pretty much every single Pokemon game since the beginning of time. So I do like the battle system. I do like the city for what it's worth. Like, do I think it looks like ass at times? Yes, but at the same time, I think it's a fun town to explore. I like the wild zones, even though I think there's a little bit too many wild zones by the end of the game. I do think like the wild zones is a good idea for a game like this. So instead of like leaving the city and going into the wilderness, they set up these like little wild zones for the Pokemon, so you can go and battle and catch Pokemon there. And I do also like the battle zones as well. I think that the battle zones are a good idea. They only appear at night, and you fight or you battle against other Pokemon trainers, and you're trying to move up in that Z-A league. You're trying to move from rank Z all the way to rank A. And I thought that was going to be like the main part of the game, which I wasn't upset about. I like the idea of rising through the ranks, battling more and more varied Pokemon trainers. Pokemon trainers like, like some of the first early Pokemon trainers who start to have more of a personality are like Canary, and there's this fighting type guy, and the leader of the Rust Syndicate. These are characters who have a lot of personality. But even back when you're fighting like the ZX etc. ranks, the trainers that you're fighting, their designs are really cool. And that's another thing that I've praised about this game the entire time I've played it, is like the design of these characters is just, they're good. I mean, this is probably the best designed like side characters and stuff like that in any Pokemon game. There's a lot of variety to them. They don't all look the same when you're battling them. Even like the random NPCs who are littered all around the map, sure, there are a couple of repeats in there, sure, but for the most part, a lot of characters have their own style or their own look. So I applaud them for that, and I think that that's a big part of making this game stand out a bit, is having these more detailed models and these more unique-looking characters. But at the same time, my first real big negative for this game is the fact that like we didn't implement voice acting. There are moments in this game where I just feel like a voice actor saying the lines would have had just a lot more impact. There's a couple of cutscenes that play where instead of the character saying the line, it just scrolls on screen, and it really ruins the impact that the cutscene would have had. And it just made me sit there and wish, like, yeah, I wish that there was some voice acting here to pull this all together. Because yeah, you can make up voices in your head all that you want, but at the same time, I would prefer to have, like, at least during the major moments of the game, have some voice acting behind these characters, or the cutscenes, or whatever. Like, they don't have to have voice acting throughout the entire game. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm just saying, like, when in these moments where you're stuck in a cutscene and there's just walls of text that you're going through, maybe it'd be better to have a voice actor, or a couple voice actors, go off of each other for these lines, or maybe during a cutscene where you have no control over the camera movements and stuff like that. Maybe it'd be better to have a more impactful voice there to say the lines that are appearing on screen, but instead, it's just you reading them, and you can of course think it in your head like how the character sounds. But at the end of the day, that was a big thing for me. Is like, there's a lot of text in here. I know, like, Pokemon Legends Arceus also had a lot of text and stuff like that, but I feel like the at least Pokemon Sword, when I played that last year, I was like, yeah, I mean, there's I mean, it's an easygoing experience. There's not a lot of dialogue. Like, at times there is, like, dialogue, but it's not like a lot. But this game just had a lot, and a lot of it was a lot of like, repeating the same thing over and over again. You go to the mission briefing, and you're having, like, very similar dialogues, and you're discussing who's going to take on what rogue Pokemon, and a lot of it just felt the same. So I just started mindlessly pressing A through a lot of these sequences, because there was just really nothing of interest to be gained for reading any of the conversation that was having. And I had already, I already like these characters. It's not like I need more dialogue with them to like them even more, but I already like the characters. I think they're the main three characters who you interact with in the game are very good characters. The only one that I was kind of, like, iffy about was Tawny, who is, like, the leader of Team MZ, which is the team that you're a part of. Because by the end of the game, she started to, like, her character, like, changed in a way that was, like, very strange, and, like, it was weird. So she goes from being, like, this easygoing character who's like, hey, let's go, let's do this, to, like, oh, I borrowed money from the Rust Syndicate and now the Mafia's after me, or hey, I'm battling up in the League of Z-A as well, and now I'm also rank A. And it's like, what? Randomly you're just rank A when I get to be rank A? Like, and the funny thing is, too, like, when you're fighting alongside her for these rogue Pokemon and stuff like that, she doesn't really have that great of Pokemon. and like, a lot of her Pokemon aren't, like, leveled all the way or whatever. So it's like, how did you reach rank A after losing in every tournament that we've been a part of, and all these, it's really stupid. And then at the very end of the game was my most, like, I was pretty frustrated by that point. But this Tawny character, who I enjoyed through most of the game, we had, like, a battle to decide who's going to go into the tower and try and stop the big bad from happening, right? The big calamity from happening. And you beat her in a battle. All fair. It's a fair battle, fair square. And she's like, she has this line of dialogue where she's like, well, I really wanted to be the one to save the city, but I guess I can help out people down here. And you're like, okay, time to go save the city, right? With that Zygrade Pokemon. But no. Instead, Tawny, like, randomly is like, you know what? Actually, I am going to take Flodet and go up to the tower. And it's like, what? She's like, I may not have beat you in battle, but I know that I'm the best Mega Pokemon user. And then she goes into the tower and everything goes wrong. And no one, it's one of those things where it's like, this really feels like really pushed. It's like, what, would you expect me to lose the battle against her? Is there, like, a different dialogue if I lose? No, I bet if I lose, it would have been a game over and I would have to restart the fight. Like, it's one of those, it's just so annoying to me when these games push this, like, it just pushed this character to the front randomly, And it's like, well, even though I enjoyed your character, like, no, like, I am the best Mega Pokemon user. And this is not me being like an asshole. I'm just saying, like, I rose through rank Z to rank A. I know that you skip a lot of those ranks because I guess the game didn't think that that was going to be fun to go through every single letter of the alphabet. You skip like 20 letters in the alphabet. It's so annoying. But I rose through all those ranks. I beat all of the crazy characters and did all these side missions and stuff like that for them to get those battles. And at the end of the day, like I was rank A. I was the best Mega Pokemon user. I have been the one beating all these rogue Mega Evolution Pokemon across the map. Y'all have been there, but that's really it. You were there. I did the main brunt of the work, and yet they want to have Tawny, or whatever the other equivalent of the character is if you choose a female character. She is the one who goes up into that tower, and it's like, yeah, sure, like, of course she's, everything goes wrong in the tower, so obviously you don't want to be the one in the tower at that time, but still at the same time, like, I am the Mega Pokemon Master. I am. All of my Pokemon can Mega Evolve. I've done the work. All of my Poke are level 60 to 70. I've done the work. What have you been doing this entire time besides making croissant curry and making trouble that the collective we have to clean up? But no. She's the one who goes into the tower. No, I uncovered the secret syndicate underground. I made friends with the Rust Syndicate, who apparently were the bad guys, but apparently they're the good guys though. I've been doing everything for this city, and I'm just a newcomer. And but this Tawny character has been making trouble for us. We've had to clean up all her messes. But no, randomly now she's rank A. We battle it out. I win the battle, but she is the one that gets to go up into the tower with Flodet and try and save the day. No, just stop right there, okay? This is annoying writing that make it something different. Like, make there be a true reason why I can't go into the tower. Like, maybe Zygrade doesn't want me to go into the tower. Okay, I can handle it from down here. Like, that's fine. I don't know. It was just one of those things where I was really frustrated by that point, because a lot of the mission design in this game, it's back and forth between the same thing. You do the Pokemon League battles, you get all the points you need to get a ticket to fight the next ranked person, and then you do that. There's sometimes multiple missions associated with trying to get to that character to fight, but you do that, and then it flips back to, there's three. It's always three. There's three rogue evolution Pokemon who are going to go rogue. You have to go fight all three of them. And each person in Team MZ, they go to each Pokemon, and you have to fight each Pokemon with them. And it's like, it just goes back and forth between those two scenarios for quite some time. And then finally, at the end of the game, after you've reached rank A, you've uncovered the secret syndicate that is still living in the city. And apparently everyone's a good guy in this game too. Let me just also say that anyone you come across, any faction, whatever, they're all the good guys. They're all fighting to make the city better. Even the Rust Syndicate, who takes out loans on people, but actually they're sending you out on missions to help the city instead of doing raw manual labor for them. Like, you actually are helping the city and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, I get it. Everyone's great. And then you uncover the secret syndicate with these people who are kind of crazy. And at the end of the day, after you discover all the hidden stuff in that base that you go into, they're like, and we're just here to help the city. And if you're here to help the city too, then we'll team up with you. And it's like, okay, fine. Everyone's the good guy. There's no Team Rocket here. There's no Team Yell or whatever. There's nothing like that. Everyone's the good guy, and everyone is helping the city. We get it, okay? The city is great. The city is perfect. The city is wonderful. I don't understand why every single faction has to be the good guys here. Even Quartasaro Inc. or whatever it's called, you expect the big corporation to be the big bad. No, they team up with you, and they're leading you to the rogue evolution Pokemon. So it's like, damn, there's really no true antagonist of this game other than the rogue Pokemon who are going Mega Evolution against their free will. Which at the end of the day is also like, it's not the Pokemon's fault. It's the fault of this tower. I was just I was lost by the halfway point of this game because I was enjoying it. I was, but I think the moment that it really took a turn for me was when you skipped like from rank like X all the way to rank like I think it was like a rank F or rank something like that. And I was like, damn, that really just takes the whole like Legends Z-A thing and just throws it out of the window. I just don't understand why we're skipping all these ranks. Like this is the main part of the game, and I'm guessing that's because well, by the time you reach the rank A, you'll probably have overpowered Pokemon if you do all those ranks. I get it, but also at the same time, without doing those ranks, I already have like super powerful Pokemon. My Gyarados was level 72 by the time that I got to the finale of the game. Like there's nothing in my way that could impede me. Even the like electric type Pokemon I ran into that were super effective against Gyarados, I was taking them out in like 2 hits. So it's like what's the point of not having me do more stuff to level up the rest of my Pokemon? I mean, I guess the other Pokemon level up at the same time, but they don't get as much XP as the one that's in the main slot. And I did like my roster of Pokemon, but anytime I pulled out like my Emboar or whatever it's called, or my Gengar or my Venusaur, they just weren't they were like level 50 to 60, and my Gyarados was level 70. So it's like why even use any of these other Pokemon when my Gyarados has everything it needs to beat even the most powerful Pokemon in the game. So like I would like there was a few times where I sent out Gengar to do a couple of things, and like I was just sitting there like healing him constantly over and over again. I'm like, this is annoying. Like I'd rather just use Gyarados, who has like 1,000 something HP at this point and whatever. But I think a lot of this stuff like started to compound on top of itself and really drain the experience. There was a point where I started to pretty much I just kind of started to feel bored with the whole monotony of the game and the battling. Even though I enjoyed it at the start, it became something that was like, well, here we go again. Time to fight another Pokemon, another rogue Pokemon. Time to fight this trainer again. There's a trainer during this game called Canary who you fight like 4 times in the game, and she doesn't change her Pokemon at all. And I was like, really? Like, I have to fight this Canary person again? And her, like I said, her Pokemon don't change. I think one of them evolved, but other than that, like, her Pokemon were the same throughout the entire game. And that's the same thing for all of the trainers that you battle again and again and again. Like, there's a couple trainers who you fight a couple times. And they just have the same Pokemon. And maybe they're a bit, they're a higher level, but at the end of the day, like I really wasn't feeling any challenge with the game, even though some of the rogue Pokemon battles were a bit difficult here and there. It was actually pretty easy to get around a lot of their attacks because you could just recall your Pokemon to the ball and then run around the attacks and throw your Pokeball back out and get your Pokemon back onto the field. Like even if they're Mega evolved, you could do that. You can call them back and then put them back out, and they'll still be Mega form. And it's like, well, okay, I guess I can dodge all these ultimate attacks, like, and then make sure that my Pokemon doesn't get knocked out and stuff like that. The last like trio of Pokemon you fight, I think I only had trouble with the Dragonite. I think that was it. Other than that, the rest of them were pretty easy. Especially because early on they give you like a shiny Mareep to catch, and you catch that, and you can turn the final evolution of that into a Mega Evolution, and that's also very good for taking out the one of the last Mega bosses. So. Yeah, it just got very repetitive, very monotonous. I think the repeated textures and the texture work on the buildings started to really grate on me as well. Like, even though I enjoyed going around the city, it just really reeks of laziness when you see the repeated textures on all the buildings or these areas that just don't feel like they're as fleshed out as they could be or as detailed as they could be. And you're going across the top of the buildings, and the skybox doesn't really even look that good either, like when you're looking out across the city and stuff like that. So I really feel like maybe the divide between a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 version caused this game to not look as good as it maybe could have. But at the end of the day, that's no excuse. Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in the world, and I think the games should live up to that expectation of the best selling franchise, our IP in the world, right? I think it should live up to that. But when you have these great character designs in this world of like repeated textures and flat buildings, it just starts to annoy you. It really does, and it makes you wonder, like, where did the money go for this? Like, what were they doing with this? It just seems so. It just seems so lazy at times. But at the end of the day, I've been pretty negative here, much like I was with the Metroid Prime 4 review. There are like a couple of good things in here, as I've already mentioned, and I did like the experience for the most part, but the problem was it kept repeating itself and whatnot, and I really felt like by the end of the game I was just sleepwalking through these battles, and when I can start to do that, I can just start to like pretty much close my eyes and just press buttons. The battle system and whatnot, it just becomes a bit monotonous, especially when I wasn't changing out my Pokemon. And you might say like, oh well, that's your own problem, not changing out Pokemon. But it's like, why would I? Why would I? When one Pokemon can take out half of the roster of these characters' Pokemon, why should I change out from Gyarados? Why should I? So. Yeah, that's Pokemon Legends Z-A. Ended up giving this one a 2.5 out of 5. I think it's slightly below average here. It's like a high 2.5. Like I felt pretty good about giving it a 2.5 because I was feeling that way at the time, but it's probably closer to a 3 than it is to a 2, so just, take that with what you will. But yeah, I thought it was a below average experience at the end of the day. I think too many repeated missions, too many bland textures, and just a lot of missed potential with having a actual cast of characters voicing these great design characters. Like, honestly, like really good design characters. So yeah, that is that. Pokemon Legends Z-A is done and dusted. And this was a game that I made a promise to myself. I said, you gotta beat Pokemon Legends Z-A before you move on to 2026 games. Like you just got to do that. So I made it a point to finish that game before the first of the big games from 2026 started to come along, and I smashed that target. Although at the time I was only like an hour or so left with the game, but still got it done, which I'm happy about. This has been on my playing list since October, so it's nice to finally get that off of the plane and put it into the beaten category and move on. All right. If you were here for the live stream from last week where we did the Ferret Awards and whatnot, you will know that I talked about Arc Raiders last week. Finally pulled the trigger on that. I bought it for like $30 on Steam, and Greedy Waffles and I kind of bought it together, and then a couple of other people popped up who started playing it, like Nomad Eric and Callus. So we've been switching between some people to play this game with, and I forget exactly what I talked about last week. Last week I think I only had a couple of hours played on it, not even. And now I have what does Steam say? I have a little bit over 10 hours played. So I've been putting in my time with the game. I haven't really tried playing it solo yet because I feel like it is one of those games where I don't know if it's really like a solo experience kind of game, but you can play it solo if you want to. Go into a zone and loot things and go back into your elevator. I mean, we've been having a good time with it. The collective we. I don't know the specific thoughts of some of the other people, but I do know that Greedy Waffles and I have been having a lot of fun with the game, and we kind of really fell in love with the starting area, the dam or whatever it's called. And we tried a couple of the other areas that we had unlocked, and even though I like the vibes, like I like the way the landscape and stuff like that, a lot of these new areas we noticed were just very open, like a lot of open ground to cover, and it kind of made me go, well, I wish that maybe there was some more cover here or whatnot. And I guess that's a part of the PvPvE aspect of the game, is having these long open stretches to run across and hope that you don't like get pot shotted at or something like that. And I will say, like, besides from yesterday when I played with Callus, we haven't really run into that many people who were willing to fight, who wanted to fight. We were looting a high value loot area in the first map, and two people came up the elevator and they just started shooting at us, and they almost got me down, but they didn't realize that we were a squad of three. So Nomad and Greedy took out one of the guys, and I was trying to heal up and help out, but at the end of the day, we took them down, and that was a good thing. They started shooting at us first, like we only retaliated. But that's the thing too, like most of the time when someone starts shooting one of you first, they have the major advantage there, which is another reason why the game keeps you on edge a little bit, is because if someone comes up behind you, starts shooting you right in the back, your shields are down, your health is down. Most of the time they're just going to rush at you and take you out, or take at least one of your group members out, which was the thing that was happening with me and Callus. When Callus and I played, all of a sudden, like two missions during our run, we were attacked by other people and taken down. And it's pretty detrimental when you get killed in this game, because you do lose your entire inventory minus your safe pocket. So like any shield you have on, weapons you have on, ammo, anything you've looted, all of your consumables or quick use items, all that stuff is gone, and you just have to kind of rebuild from ground zero your character. And there was the second time that we died that I went, damn, this really sucks to die. Like, we only died like a couple times, Greedy Waffles and I, when we played the game the past week. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's bad to die, but we aren't dying that much because, people haven't really been aggressive toward us. But now, for whatever reason, just running into a couple of groups of people who are just doing the PvP aspect of the game really kind of sucks. And I do know that the game tries to put you into lobbies with people of the same play style as you. But of course, you're not going to have a full lobby of only pacifist people, right? Or people who are willing to help. That's the thing. It's just one of those things where, you're always going to have those people going into a match who are looking to loot, and they're looking to get the best stuff, and they don't care who they have to kill along the way to get the best stuff. We actually extracted in an elevator, and I didn't notice at the time, but there was 2 dead bodies in the elevator when we went to go extract, and I was like, oh shit. And 2 people joined us right at the end of the elevator being available to go down. And I was like, oh, are these people about to kill us? Or do they think that we killed these people? Like, it's one of those things where I was a bit on edge, but luckily the countdown for actually extracting is only like 5 seconds. So usually people can't kill you in that amount of time. But it puts you on edge. And I like that on edge feeling, right? That unease about the game. And I think that's something that a lot of these similar games they kind of are missing, right? You go all the way back to the Division 1 and 2, you kind of know that people are more so out there for the PvP aspect, right? So you kind of know when you go to a dark zone, people aren't going to be willing to help you. They're going to want to take the stuff that you have, especially because a lot of good stuff drops in those areas, purple and orange rare items. So of course in the Division you're more so on edge, like, hey, I'm just, well, let's just get out of here. Let's just extract while we have the good stuff and leave. The same thing can be said for Arc Raiders, where it's not so much like, oh, we have like a bunch of really good stuff. It's more so like, okay, we got like a couple of good items, but I filled out my inventory with scrap and stuff that I needed. So let's go ahead and extract so we don't lose all this stuff, right? So yeah, that's one thing that I do enjoy about the game. It can be a bit annoying to die and lose all your stuff, especially when it's like a couple of times in a row, not in a row, but over like a couple of times you've gone out there. And I will say that it was pretty annoying to die like 2 times almost in a row and have to restock my entire stock of items. Like at that time, I was like, damn, I don't have enough arc things to make more shield recharges, and I'm running low on those bonus inventory slot items, and it's like, I gotta go into the field and find like regular scrap items or regular things that I can scrap into regular items and get some of this stuff built up back into my inventory. And that's kind of what I focused on for the next couple of missions. But Yeah, it can be treacherous out there, it really can. And I think my first impressions of the game, I really felt like people were much more willing to help out and stuff. We had a lot of good interactions with people when we were trying to find one of those supply drop beacons, and people were trying to help us do that at one point. Just random people in the game who were also teamed up with us. So we also helped take out a couple of the heavier duty arc machines in the game with some other people, like the Rocketeer and stuff like that. So there's a lot of opportunity for alliances, I guess you could say. But at the same time, you're always thinking about, well, what if these people turn around after we destroy this thing? We're hurt. We're trying to heal ourselves up, and they just take us out, and they move on. There's always that thing that could happen. But that's the aspect of a PvPvE type game. And as I mentioned last week, I do kind of wish that I had started playing this game a lot earlier, because then it probably would have gotten onto a top 10 list. But right now, with 10 hours in, I don't want to make that quick decision to just throw it on there, because I feel like it needs more time to simmer. Much like a lot of the games that I do play towards the end of the year, it's like I can't be so snap on my judgments of this, because there was a couple of top 10 lists that I've redone where I just felt like it was a lot of snap decisions on games that I had recently finished and I was just high on at the time. One of the main not a top 10 list when I was on this channel, but there was a top 10 list I made when I was on my other channel, where I had, like, Just Cause 4 came out on like December 12th or something like that. And I played like half of the game, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is really good. And that was a long time ago, mind you. And for my top 10 list that year, maybe it was Just Cause 3. It was either 3 or 4. I forget which one it was. So my top 10 list came out December, like, later in that month. And I had Just Cause 4 as like number 3 or something like that. I didn't even finish it. And going back now, like, that's like a cardinal sin for me. I detest the fact that I was putting games like that where I hadn't even finished them onto my top 10 lists. You might be asking, well, why did you redo some of those lists that last year that you redid? And the main thing about that is, like, yeah, I just felt like the top 10 list is not representative of what I actually feel now. And a lot of those other lists I made, they're good to go. They're good to go. Like, maybe I would tweak them a little bit, but they're good to go kind of lists. But yeah, there's a couple lists I felt like, yeah, I think, there's a lot of, like, odd choices here, or things that didn't hold up, or things that were replaced by better experiences. And maybe down the road, the 2025 list will be swapped out. Arc Raiders will be put into one of those slots. It's hard to say. But also at the same time, like, I feel like even though Arc Raiders is fun and I'm enjoying the experience, I also don't feel like it's a top 10 for me, right? I just feel like it's a fun, multiplayer experience. Maybe we'll play throughout the rest of the year, or maybe not. It's hard to say. And plus, with that marathon game coming out later this year, I feel like once that game comes out, we'll want to switch over to that and try our hand at that, especially because the extraction shooter genre isn't like my big thing. But Arc Raiders has kind of like been a bright spot in that genre for me, and maybe that marathon game will be as well. I don't know. I won't know until I play it. But as of right now, Arc Raiders has been pretty fun. I mean, I'm leaning towards, like, if you want like a basic, like, first impression scoring, it's probably like a 3.5 out of 5. I feel like there are some things they could have improved about the game a little bit here and there. I also feel like the AI voice acting in the game is really standing out right now. Some characters talk a lot, and you can really tell when they are using AI scripts to do their voice lines. I think that is a bit of a detrimental thing. It's not as detrimental as, like, that one article had it, where it was like a 4 out of 10 or whatever they gave it for the AI voice acting. I think it's like a 3.5. Like, the AI voice acting is like a part of the issue that I have with it, but it's not like a major thing for me right now. But yeah, at the end of the day, I've been enjoying it. I like the design of the Arc enemies. I like that they, these little, like, crafts that are hovering around, like drones, you can actually take out their rotor wings and cause them to, like, be wobbly, or it'll take them down faster to take out those little rotor wings. Like, there's a lot of, like, little details like that I enjoy a lot. And then when you're in a lobby with people who are willing to just say hi and pass you by, Those that's the best part of the game for me, because it alleviates some of that like questionable, like, oh, is this person gonna kill me or not? Like when they flash their flashlight at you and move on, like you know that they're just there for like you to just get some scrap and leave, right? I also found out that I had registered the hotkey for open mic to the wrong key. I registered the party open mic chat to Z, and then I realized like no one was like responding to me in the game, but the people who I was playing with were like, yeah, I could hear you through the game. That's because there's two different push to talk options. There's one for just the party you're in, and one for like open mic for the world to hear you. And I didn't have that mapped properly, so the people in the game weren't being rude. I was just not actually talking into the world. So if you feel like that's the same thing that's happening to you, there's a way to solve that in the audio settings. But yeah, I was, it was kind of funny. I was like, I was talking to Cal, so I'm like, I feel like these people are just ignoring me when I talk. And that's when I went and rechecked my settings for like a third time, and I realized I scrolled down just a little bit more, and I realized that there was two different options for push to talk. One was party, one was open mic. So I was able to solve that. So there we go. That's Arc Raiders. Just a few more impressions there. We've had some fun times. I've had some good stuff happen. Had some bad stuff happen, of course. But at the end of the day, we're having fun with it, and we'll probably keep playing it for at least the rest of the month or so. We'll see what happens. I don't want to predict when I'm not going to play the game anymore, because it might be a game that we play all year. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Next up is an indie game that came out this past week that I've been playing, and it's called Vital Shell. And I just want to warn you, I may call it Vital Shield, because that's what I thought the name was for the first couple times I booted up the game, but then I realized it was Vital Shell. So, my apologies if I say the name wrong. So, Vital Shell is a game. It's pretty much based off of like the Vampire Survivors formula, where you got a horde of enemies coming at you, and you gotta take them out, and your guns fire automatically and whatnot. So it's got that formula to it. It's obviously a roguelike. You're trying to survive 20 waves with a boss at the end. And if you survive all those waves and you destroy the boss, you can either get a new character or you get some unlocks in there as well. And that's why the game is more of a roguelite. Roguelite, because you keep a lot of upgrades. You have like this overall meter. It's not like everything is resetting every time. You unlock new weapons and stuff like that by rising the ranks and killing enemies and stuff like that. So yes, it's actually more. I would say it's more closely related to Brotato, because you're using guns and rocket launchers and stuff like that. You have like some melee weapons, but it's not like a huge part of the game. Mostly it's just it's guns and weapons and stuff like that. So I feel like it's a very much more closely related to Brotato. Also, the map that you're fighting in is pretty small. It's like this pretty small area. It's not like Vampire Survivors where it's kind of never ending and stuff like that. So it is more closely related to Brotato at times. But it does have its own flair. I think the graphic style to this one is very fun. It's like that low poly Dreamcast or PS1 inspired era graphic style where it's very retro looking. I think they do refer to it as like a Dreamcast type looking game. That's because like the textures they're kind of blocky, but then there's like a lot of polygon type things going on. So it's got a fun art style to it. The enemy designs are really weird. They remind me of those like informational videos about CGI back in the day, where it's like, here's a human head and it kind of looks like a human head, but it's not really, so like there's a lot of like weird enemy designs, and there's a lot of enemy variety in the game as well. So yeah, you have like these regular enemies who are like human heads with legs, and then you have like human heads with guns and human heads with spikes and eyeballs floating around, and mortars in there as too. And there's like a whole bunch of stuff. There's still more that I'm discovering as I go through these levels. It almost reminds me of in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, the video game. Once you beat the campaign, you can go to like do this wave defender mode where a certain set of enemies will come out every wave. It does remind me of that, because the waves are the same between if you have to restart or if you play again, the waves are the same between the rounds. So you kind of know what to expect going into each level or each round. But it's still I'm still trying to figure out the meta for this game. Like, okay, is more damage better? Is faster bullet speed better? Like, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm just kind of upgrading what I feel like I need to upgrade. I have beaten the first level so far. I'm getting pretty far through the second level, but I haven't been able to beat it yet. But I did unlock one of the new characters, which was a guy with like guns who had like guns akimbo. He could only equip like light guns. The first guy you get is they're all in mech suits, by the way. So it's kind of like a Gundam-inspired kind of game, too, where everyone's in mech suits or whatnot. So the first guy has like a shield and a sword is a starting thing, and he has better blocking ability, and you can actually raise your chance of blocking incoming damage. Because every time the wave ends, of course, you get gems throughout your experience, and it gives you experience points. And as you level up, you get to decide randomly between 3 options what to upgrade. So you can upgrade damage output for specific weapon types or all weapon types. You can upgrade how fast your dash or your dodge reloads. You can upgrade how quickly you move on the field, etc., etc. There's a whole bunch of things there. Then also there's crystals that you can get at times to help boost your guns' abilities and your guns' attack speed and your guns' power and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things in the game to help you out throughout the waves. But at the end of the day, you're only going to get as far as your build allows you to. And a lot of times I've been getting pretty close to the end on the second map, and I think I even got to the final boss on the second map, but I ended up not making it through. I think also it has a pretty fun soundtrack. It's got pretty good audio design in there as well, and I like the graphic style a lot too. And it's not like this is the first game ever to do this type of thing where it goes old school with the graphic style, but I do like this aesthetic. Last year, for the 2024 top 10 games list, I had that rally game that was heavily inspired by Dreamcast graphics as well, and that one just really spoke to me. Vital Vital Shell has been a good time. I've been enjoying it a lot. You play like a couple of waves here or there, and then you call it a day. It's not one of those games where you're going to play for hours on end, but you do a couple of rounds here or there, and say, not too bad. I would also like to say that I was trying to get this episode out in time before other people start to notice it and start playing it, because I always try to be, first on a lot of things, right? I've done it in the past where with most recently, Peak was a game that I talked about, about a week before it really blew up. And I was hoping the same thing would happen here. But as the week was going on and I was playing the game, Video Game Donkey went live on his Twitch channel and played it. So now, a lot more people know about it. So I was not the first one to talk about it, but I was pretty early on the train here. So I'll give myself a little bit credit to, and maybe this game will blow up, maybe it won't. I'm for this one. I feel like it's more so like a kind of it has a bit of a niche, right? Vampire Survivors like Dreamcast visuals, Gundam inspired. It probably has a niche here for like the Armored Core fans or something like that. But at the end of the day, I think it's fun. I've been having a good time with it. And maybe you will too. It's only like $7 on the Steam store. I don't know if it's on other platforms right now, but I think it's pretty good. So it's one of the first games that came out this year that I had my eyeballs on, and I picked it up. There's another game that I bought that I haven't started yet, so maybe I'll talk about that next week. It's another indie game. I'll talk about it next week. But Vital Shell gets a thumbs up. I think it's pretty fun Vampire Survivors type game. All right, we finished 2 games on stream this week. Actually, the first 2 games of the year that I finished. One of them was a game that actually started on New Year's Eve, which was Modern Warfare 2, the new one from 2022, I believe it was. And I still enjoy the game. I think Modern Warfare 2 is I mean, it's not a classic like the original Modern Warfare 2, but I think it's pretty good. I think the level design is decent. There's only a couple levels in here that I think are below average. The rest of them are pretty fun. I think this game has one of the more fun of the AC-130 missions in here too. It's a two-parter mission, but I think that those missions are really fun in this game. I think the gunplay is pretty nice. I don't mind the story. I do think that it mirrors like the original Modern Warfare 2 story where they have Shadow Company in the game, and Shadow Company starts off like kind of being the good guys, right? But then something happens, and now they're kind of the bad guys, right? They're going through hunting down this terrorist, and they're just like killing anyone in their way, and it's all helmed by General Shepard. But I think that for the most part, it's fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, if we're just doing the rating on campaign, it's like a 4 out of 5 for me. I know I originally scored it a 4 out of 5, but this time through, I couldn't play the multiplayer. The multiplayer was not working, probably because everything transferred over to Modern Warfare 3 when that game came out, and then also I didn't play any of the Spec Ops missions. I remember them being kind of like okay at best. But all I played was the campaign on this one, and yeah, for the campaign experience, I think it's fun. They add in some new characters who I enjoyed. They have like the Mexican Special Forces in this game, and Alejandro is one of the new characters from that, and I think Alejandro was a great character. I think that it was a good one to add in there. There's also a couple of other new characters too that they introduce in this game, and even though not all of them were super memorable, I think I liked a lot of the interactions with the characters and stuff like that. Also, this is the game that brought back like Soap and Ghost and whatnot, so it's very much like a nostalgia kind of game too, where it's like, oh hey, we got all these fun characters back. The Modern Warfare reboot from 2019. That gave us like Captain Price and Gaz, right? And they were kind of the main characters from the original Modern Warfare, right? Even though you play as Soap in that game, I don't believe you play as Soap in the 2019 game. But yeah, I mean Gaz and Price were like the big guys, and then Modern Warfare 2 comes around. They're like, okay, it's time to add in the rest of the Task Force 141, and that's what they did. They added Ghost in there, they added Soap in there. No Roach or anything like that, but they add in the main faces, the faces that people remember. And the final scene for this game is the fact that it's Makarov. Makarov's back, and they have some history with Makarov, but you don't know about it yet. And that's where some of my issues start to come in with this being part one of 2 parts, or even 3 parts. I mean, obviously, this is we have a trilogy already here, but you can kind of see that the 2019 Modern Warfare reboot is a pretty concise and final kind of game, right? It starts and it ends, and there's a mission where it's like, okay, we could come back or we could not. It just depended on how the game was going to do. And I mean, the game's going to do well. I mean, I don't think Call of Duty was like, oh, this game's going to suck. But so the game has a finite ending to it, but it allows for more things to be added on to it. And a big thing with that first reboot was the fact that like there was that whole like it was called Spec Ops, I think, but it was more so like just a wave defender mode where you would fight like Al-Assad's like troops or whatnot, and it was like not great. And then Modern Warfare 2 comes around, and they just have the Warzone mode, which I think is fine. I think the Warzone is fine. Like it's nothing that I'm going to play a lot. It's just it's kind of one of those one and done type things, much like the Battle Royale from Black Ops 4. But with Modern Warfare 2, I thought the Spec Ops, at least they had the Spec Ops in there, and there was all this. The campaign was fun. So yeah, at the end of the day, I still give Modern Warfare 2 a 4 out of 5, and I put it into the B tier. And then I was actually pretty interested in replaying Modern Warfare 3, which I know might come as a shock to people who have been longtime listeners of this podcast, but there was something about Modern Warfare 3 that I was like, damn, I think it really does deserve another chance, because when it came out, I was really quick to get through the campaign, and I really wasn't vibing with the game in general. You paid $60 or $70 for the game. It was during that crossover period where Activision was just starting to be bought by Xbox, or there was something going on where Xbox was just starting to roll out the dough for that. So it was made under a time crunch and all this stuff. And you look at the situation with Black Ops 7, from Black Ops 6 to Black Ops 7, and you go, how did something like this happen where Black Ops 6 was made, it performed well, and then Black Ops 7 comes out and it's just complete trash. It's just utter complete garbage. And you look at the difference there between Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, like there's a reason why Modern Warfare 3 doesn't have as much going on as Modern Warfare 2 did, or as meticulously designed levels as Modern Warfare 2, and it's because there was that time crunch from Activision being bought out by Xbox or Microsoft. So I give it a little bit of leeway just for that in general. But completely removing that from our minds, I think that Modern Warfare 3 has kind of done a 180 for me. Now, it's not like a perfect experience, don't get me wrong. It's not as good as Modern Warfare 2. But throughout my time playing the game, just playing the campaign and the multiplayer on the side, I was having a lot of fun with this one. And I know, shocking. After everything I said about the game back in the day in 2023 when it originally came out, Modern Warfare 3 has actually done a great job of keeping itself relevant and changing things up just enough to have me enjoying the experience. One of the main things that I complained about when I originally played Modern Warfare 3 was the fact that these Modern Warfare 2 maps came back and they did not fit the style of Modern Warfare 3's movement system. Modern Warfare 3 was a much more loose and fast-paced movement system than Modern Warfare 2 and the reboot. Even though it's still got that realism aspect to it, there's a lot of sliding, there's a lot of like kooky things you do with your gun. It's very much more of an arcade experience than a realism experience. And the Modern Warfare 2 maps, which were made for the original Modern Warfare 2, are based around that movement system of Modern Warfare 2, and it just didn't work out. It just didn't work for me, besides for maybe Rust. So now they have a bunch of maps mixed in there where they are made for this movement system. They're more tight-knit kind of maps. They allow for the player to get the jump on others through corners, sliding around corners and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of cool things going on there. They also have the small map mosh pit, which I think is a great addition. All those small maps that make the movement system feel amazing. So that's the one thing that really turned me around on this game. Even though I don't remember what I said about the movement system back when I originally talked about it, but I really enjoyed the movement system in my replay of Modern Warfare 3. I actually was really vibing with it. I still am playing the multiplayer. Even though I'm done with the campaign, I did my final stream for the game about a week ago now. I'm still booting up the multiplayer here and there and playing a few rounds because it is a fun movement system. The gun customization is also really nice as well. I think that the perk system, quote unquote, is kind of interesting, where it's like you get different gloves, you get different armor padding, stuff like that, instead of it being like a perk, like just a random thing that's fairy dust. You actually have something tangible that's changing about your character. So even though I wouldn't say go out, buy it right now, if it is on sale and you want a different multiplayer experience that's not Black Ops 7, maybe check out Modern Warfare 3, because the multiplayer experience here is really good. I really enjoyed it. I think that really has been one of the main things that turned me around about the game, is just having this much fun with the multiplayer itself. The other thing that I was very hypercritical of when I originally talked about Modern Warfare 3 was the campaign. I thought the campaign was not good. It was a bunch of these open combat missions, which were kind of annoying, very much based around the Warzone type style of gameplay. And even though I still kind of agree with that, I was not as annoyed with the open combat missions as I was when the game originally came out. There's really only one open combat mission that I was kind of iffy about, which was the third mission or the second mission in the game. Well, I think it was the third mission in the game. The rest of the levels are pretty fun to play through, and even though I would rather have had more of a linear mission structure to these open combat missions, for the most part, I think they're fun to play, and there's some pretty good levels here in general that I enjoyed going through. Now, if we're going to start from the beginning, it does a bit of a subversion of expectations here, where instead of saving Captain Price as prisoner 627 in the Gulag, you're saving Makarov, and the Gulag apparently is operated by U.S. agents. So you're going in there, you're doing a prison riot, you're getting Makarov out, right? That's like the big um, surprise at the beginning of the game. And after that, you play as Farah, and you're driving in a car to see your weapons shipment that came from the Shadow Company. And this is where the first part of the game that I have a little bit of criticism for the story came here, where you meet this character named Dina, and she has some sort of relationship with Farah, right? And in the first couple of seconds after meeting this character, she gets shot and she's dead, right? There is a mission later on in the game where you play as a character named Samara, and she is an ex-freedom fighter who is raising a family and trying to get back to her family in wherever, right? And you're on a plane, and Makarov takes over the plane, and he tries to stage, or he does successfully stage, what it looks like Samara being a terrorist and blowing up the plane with a bomb vest, right? The problem is, though, is that even though they show us Samara's family on the phone, and they, she's very, I can't wait to get back to my family, woohoo. I think it would have been more effective to have that Dina character, who we already were talking to and know some things about, take her and don't kill her off there. Have her somehow be on this plane that gets hijacked, or honestly, just axe the hijacking mission from the entire game. I know it's supposed to be the crazy no Russian type level. We have this level in every single Call of Duty game where civilians get hurt or something happens to civilians, right? But the problem is that this passenger level happens, the plane is destroyed. You have a fun mission after that where you're searching the wreckage for any recordings of the incident to try and disprove the narrative. But there's a mission pretty much preceding that one where a soccer stadium is under attack from Makarov. You don't know it's Makarov at the time, or at least Captain Price and Soap didn't at the time. But this is how they're establishing that Makarov and Task Force 141 have history, is in this level that's after you search the plane wreckage for the video footage. And Captain Price and Soap are telling the rest of the squad about the whole thing. And so I thought that this mission where Makarov disguises his guys as the police force for the stadium, and he's killing all these innocent civilians, and you have to actually really be meticulous about your shots and make sure you're not shooting civilians while you're trying to kill the terrorists. I thought that was much more effective than the hijacking scene with the plane. I thought that was so much more effective. And in a perfect world where hindsight is 2020, I feel like they could have used this soccer stadium level in either Modern Warfare 2 to establish Makarov. Maybe Captain Price and the team don't know who Makarov is yet. They think it's the main villain from Modern Warfare 2 named Hassan. Maybe he was the one behind the attack, but actually they find out that no, it was this other guy, Makarov. So they take him in, they throw him into the gulag, right? And then when Modern Warfare 3 starts and you're essentially rescuing Makarov from the prison as the Coney group, that would have been a good reveal at the start of the game. And then halfway through the game, instead of having the soccer mission, which is actually really, really good, we could have switched around the hijacking mission, made it so that Dina was in that pilot's in the seat instead of the Samara character. And I think it would have been a lot more of a better story-wise than what they did here. So that's my main gripe about the game. I think that soccer stadium mission is very impactful. I think it actually does the job that plane mission couldn't. It does establish the history between the characters, but I think it would have been much more effective to have that be a mission in Modern Warfare 2 rather than Modern Warfare 3, just so you're not going back in time for this mission, and it just replaced the mission with something else or whatnot. But in general, the campaign for Modern Warfare 3, I was not super critical about this time around. And like I said, the open combat missions, they actually were a little bit fun. Now, I would rather have a linear mission structure. Don't get me wrong. The dam mission where you're playing as Ghost, I really felt like that suffered from having an open combat mission, because I felt like it would have been a pretty good linear mission, just defusing bombs and stuff like that. But instead, you get dropped down into the dam, and it's It's almost like I know they didn't try to do this, but it's almost like those missions from Call of Duty 2 where you have multiple objectives. The problem is that Call of Duty 2 had much more meticulous level design, and each of those areas, each of those objectives, actually had something going on at them, right? Whereas when you're dropping down from the dam as ghosts, you're defusing bombs. I mean, yeah, you can tackle them in whatever order you want, sure, but at the same time, like, it's just not as meticulously designed as I was hoping they would be. And I think that was the main thing that set me over the edge back when I originally played the game, is like, man, I just really wish that it was just a regular campaign with, and like, that's the other thing too. Now that I've played it, a couple years removed now, about 3 years removed, like, I'm not as hypercritical because, one, I didn't just pay $60 for the game, right? I don't feel ripped off. Two, I like the movement system now. I think the Black Ops 6 movement system made me more used to the loosey goosey style that Modern Warfare 3 was going for. So now now when I play Modern Warfare 3, the movement system kind of speaks to me a bit more, and I actually kind of like it a little bit more than the Black Ops 6 style, especially better than Black Ops 7. But yeah, with Modern Warfare 3, I think now I've come back around on the campaign. I think the story beats are fine. It's just the problem. The problem is that I think the level design, even though I don't mind the open combat missions as much now, I think it could have used more linear mission structure. And there are still a lot of good levels inside of Modern Warfare 3. Don't get me wrong. But there's some story stuff going on that I do have my criticisms of. I've already talked about the whole Samara and hijacking mission, but there's also another plot point where Captain Price like breathes in like this toxic gas, and he like passes out. And like this could have been a cool way to like knock Captain Price out of action for a little bit, have him take the role of like the guy behind the scenes calling the shots, but still sick, right? But instead, they kind of have him recover right away, and in the next mission, he's leading the squad for the next mission. So it's like, okay, like, well, what's the point of having this like thing happen if you're not going to knock this character out for a mission or two, right? It's one of those things. It's just a weird decision there. And the other thing too is like they bring back a lot of characters from the 2019 reboot, including Farah and Alex. They also have Yuri thrown into this game at one point, which I was like, yeah, I mean, it's fine to throw Yuri in there, but the mission that he's in, it lacks a little bit of that impact. It's another mission where you're undercover and you're trying to get through a facility, get to Yuri. They get like a jump drive that has information that you need on it. But the problem is that the level's not as long as it needs to be. I think that the stealth mechanics could have been fleshed out more. Two, this is also another level that's like, oh, look at all the death and destruction caused by this toxin. Oh, you're seeing people's like faces bleed from their eyeballs. Like, it's like this is another mission where they're trying to do the whole shock and awe thing that they do for Hijacked and the football stadium mission, but they're doing it here again. It's like, we need to flesh out this mission more. Yes, you can still do the gas attack. That's fine. But also at the same time, like, it just needs to be more fleshed out and given more stuff to do in there. Maybe you could have made it more of like an open mission, kind of like that one mission from Black Ops 6 where you're in Vorkuta. Like, I feel like that would have been just fine with this mission. But instead, it's a very short and quick jaunt through the space, and you get the jump drive and then jump out at the last second before the bombs like engulf you. So yeah, it's almost like the same issue that I have with the original Modern Warfare 3, where a lot of the level design is pretty good in Modern Warfare 3. I like a lot of those missions, but the story holding it together, I have a couple of criticisms about, like major criticisms about, and it's kind of the same thing here, where I don't think that the mission structure is that bad for Modern Warfare 3, even though I prefer not to have as many open combat missions as this game does have. I do feel like there is a lot of good missions here, and there are some good plot points, but there are some things that I, of course, have my criticisms about. And at this point, if you're listening to this, you're probably saying, Yemmy, we get it. Modern Warfare 3 is a better game now. Can we move on? And yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think it's time for me to move on. I've been talking about this for a long time. I have a whole, 2-hour conversation about it back when I originally played it. So it's like, why am I sitting here trying to rehash some things that I've probably talked about before? But also at the same time, like, yeah, once again, I did a bit of a 180 on this game. I actually like it now. I've been playing it. So it's like, What? You're playing it after finishing the campaign? Yes, I know. I'm playing it, and I like, even though I have a couple of criticisms about the story mode and stuff like that, I think in general it's not that bad. I think that a lot of the reason why I had such negative feelings toward the game back in the day is just because of that price tag and the fact that it really did feel like a big expansion pack for Modern Warfare 2. But now, playing it 3 years removed from that, I'm looking at it with a more just a regular. I'm blanking on the words that I'm looking for right now, but I'm looking at it not with that heated vision of like, this is blah blah blah, angry eyes. I'm looking at it with a more objective. That's what I'm looking for, objective stance. And I like to be honest with y'all. You know that, and I'll be honest. This game, it came back for me. And I'm not going to rank this just based off of the campaign. It's a whole package here. I didn't really like the zombies mode. I still don't really like the zombies mode of this game, open world Warzone zombies. I'm not like super a big fan of it. It's fine for what it is, but it's nothing like that I'm going to go back and play a bunch. So in general, my new score for Modern Warfare 3 is a 3.5 out of 5. Yes, it really did that big of a turnaround for me this playthrough. And it's one of these games where I'm going to look back and say, I'm kind of fond of that one. I like the movement system. I like the multiplayer a lot. I think the campaign is good for what it's worth, even though I would rather have a linear experience. And I think the zombies mode is fine at best. So as an all-encompassing new score, from a 1.5, it is now going to a 3.5. I think it had that big of a jump for me. And they also tweak things around as well that I enjoyed with the multiplayer and stuff like that. So there you go. If I was just going to rate it on campaign only, probably with the amount of story stuff I have issues with during this game, it'd probably be like a 3 out of 5 for just the story if I was just doing story mode ranking. But this is the all-encompassing score is 3.5. Everything together is 1. So there you go. That is my replay of Modern Warfare 3. Let me know in the comments below if you're shocked. I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to do call to actions in these podcasts, okay? Trying to get some more comments on these things. Let's go ahead and move on to what's in the news. All right. So, first in the news today, here are the top 5 games played in the U.S. in 2025. So this list is probably not going to be that's crazy to you, but there is something interesting about this list that I will comment on after I say what the name of the games are. So, coming from Matt Piscatella, who is a data analysis who tracks player engagement over video games, came out with his top 5 most played games across the U.S. for 2025. And at the number 1 slot is Fortnite, number 2, Call of Duty, number 3, Grand Theft Auto 5, number 4, Roblox, and number 5, Minecraft. So, you might be thinking to yourself, that's not shocking. That's not shocking at all, actually. Those games all seem to fit the bill there. Well, here's the thing. The top 5 games played last year in the U.S. was Fortnite, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, Roblox, and Minecraft in the same order. I thought that Minecraft would get a bit of a boost because the movie came out last year, but no, there you go. This is the same exact list from 2024 to 2025. The same 5 games, not a lick of a difference in there. And I'm guessing that if Grand Theft Auto 6 does not come out this coming year, it'll be the same list again, and maybe some things will be a little bit reordered, but I think it's going to be the same list again, honestly. There are a lot of big releases every year. A lot of people playing things like Expedition 33 got a boost of tons of players, Arc Raiders and stuff like that. But there's something to be said about these games that have just been around for what seems like forever at this point. And now that Call of Duty is just kind of has Call of Duty as the encompassing, like, hey, this is the Call of Duty experience for this year. So it's not like it needs to, have like the monkier of Black Ops 6 or Black Ops 7 on there anymore. So it's just Call of Duty. It's also pretty crazy that Grand Theft Auto 5 is still as popular as it is. Like that online mode really kept that thing going. Roblox, lots of kids play Roblox. It's a big game, much like Minecraft. I think Minecraft has a bit more of a mix where it's like kids and adults playing that game. And I guess you could say the same thing about Roblox too, but I feel like it is mostly just kids playing Roblox. But yeah, I mean Fortnite being number one, no real. Like this is not going to be like a big oh my god moment, because like Fortnite has been one of the top played games for probably the past like 5 or 6 years now. It's been dominating the market, and Call of Duty's trying to get in there, and it has gotten in there at number two. But this also shows you like, yeah, of course GTA 5, they're making so much money with that game. It's still as popular as it is because of that online mode. And they're always doing updates for the online in there as well. Like, of course, they're going to take their sweet time with Grand Theft Auto 6 because most people are content with playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I think that if Grand Theft Auto 5 had the same lifespan of Grand Theft Auto 4, they probably would have put out Grand Theft Auto 6 by now, or they would have worked to get Grand Theft Auto 6 out by now. But that's just not how it's going. They're taking their time with Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, I know there's a lot of behind-the-scenes information that we do have of crunch time and stuff like that, but at the same time, like I think that it would be much worse, or it would have already been out if Grand Theft Auto 5 was not doing as well as it was. And, I mean, look, next year, or this coming year, if Grand Theft Auto 6 does come out, I almost wonder if Grand Theft Auto 5 will still take over its numbers, or at least have the stronger numbers for playtime in the U.S., but gradually lose its spot to Grand Theft Auto 6 if it is as big of a success as we are thinking it's going to be. And then eventually, like I think if they do the same list next year, I almost wonder if Grand Theft Auto 6 and Grand Theft Auto 5 are both on the list by the end of the year, or if next year, when it happens in 2027, we'll see both those games on this list, because people will probably be gradually moving over to Grand Theft Auto 6's online mode, or whatever they're going to decide to do. But yeah, there you go. That is the top 5 most played games in the U.S., and that is not a list that was going to shock you. It's not a list that's going to shock you. All right, we've been having a couple of conversations about generative AI as in regards to Divinity, Baldur's Gate 3, and the people at Larian Studios. They hosted a question and answers, question and answers live stream or whatever on Reddit today, where they clarified their position and use of generative AI. So, in a response to a couple of questions, they said that they won't be using any generative AI art in the development or in Divinity at all. They are quoted as saying, "I know there's been a lot of discussion about using generative AI tools as part of the concept art exploration. We already said that this doesn't mean that the actual concept art is generated by AI, but we understand it can create confusion. So to ensure there is no room for doubt, we've decided to refrain from using generative AI tools during concept art development. That way, there will be no discussion about the origin of the art." And they also said that this whole system of generating AI art images for concept art, it didn't actually help them at the end of the day either. So, why would they still do that? At this time, I couldn't tell you. They also moved on to say that, AI can help with things, trying things out across departments. They can aid to refine ideas faster, leading to more focused development cycles, less waste time, and ultimately a higher quality game. He also said that if Larian does use generative AI to make in-game assets, it'll be trained on data we own. So, it'll be from the actual creators. Now, I also don't think that that's like a good justification for this. But whatever. So yeah, it's funny that they're like, maybe it's not funny, but it's just weird that they're like, oh yeah, generative AI can help us with many things, and it can maybe help us, focus the development cycle. But then the last time they made a statement about this, they were like, oh yeah, generative AI actually slowed us down, and we're not going to use generative AI anymore because it's actually slowing the process down. So it's like, what side of the wall is it? Is it generative AI is like this tool that we were trying to use for Baldur's Gate 3 and other projects, and it just it was slowing us down because we had to really refine what it was doing? Or is it something that's actually helping you and helping the development cycle and make it more focused? It doesn't make any sense. Now, it's possible that they're talking about more focused development, like, they type in what they want to this generative AI program, and they go, I want a luscious green field with magical trees and orcs or whatever, right? Like, and they generate and they go, okay, this is kind of what I'm looking for, and then they can generate the landscape off of this. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, not using any generative AI at all is a good way to go, especially right now when it is such a hot topic. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again: AI can be used as a tool. But if it's creating ideas for you, creating concept art for you, doing any work that should be human related, where it's like the imagination process, the building the world process, I just feel like it's a shortcut one too many. And like, once again, I don't mind AI putting code to work, writing code for you, or doing the busy work. I don't want these games to be built from AI algorithms, like I don't want this quest line to be, oh, well, the AI was like, talking, the AI made this part of the storyline, or the AI started the storyline up. It's like, I don't want that kind of thing going on. I would like human stories and human imagination. I don't need AI being trained off of even your own concept. I don't want that. I just want actual humans building these things, because at the end of the day, I've said this before, video games is a form of art. And if you don't want AI generation in regular art, then you definitely don't want AI generation in video game art. End of story. Speaking of AI, Sony has recently patented an AI assistant that can help you beat games or just beat them for you. Now, obviously, this is a patent, so it means that it's not actually being worked on maybe right now, but this is the idea that Sony has had, and they filed it back in 2025, in April of 2025. So it's been under their wing for a while. So we don't know if they're actually working on this, but the patent itself talks about how an AI ghost character could help you, guide you through a game, show you what to do, give you advice, or actually perform in-game actions for you, like solve puzzles, beat enemies, etc., etc. The AI assistant will be trained on playthroughs of games by other users, including online resources like YouTube video tutorials and Twitch streams. It will be able to use that information to identify specific game scenarios. If you enable AI Assist, it could manifest in game like a ghost NPC. Depending on what you want to do, it could also provide an overlay of what to do next, show you button prompts when needed, and have a conversation with you through natural language, or even complete segments for you. So this just seems like there's something that comes to mind here, where it's like, okay, if you're going to use this AI assistant, why do you play video games? That's the first thing that came to mind when I saw this article. I was like, if you're going to have an AI assistant pretty much beat a game for you, or beat a hard section for you, or tell you what to do in this puzzle, why do you play games? You know that there's going to be a slew of people who could possibly use this AI tool and have it beat a game for them, and then they'll be able to say whatever they want online, because they go, look, I beat the game. I can have an opinion about this. And I'm not saying you can't have an opinion on a game if you just watch gameplay or whatever of it, but at the same time, like, there's already a resource for watching something or someone beat a game for you, and that is Let's Plays and playthroughs on YouTube and Twitch. Like, there's already a source for these types of things. Like, I imagine going through Bloodborne for the first time, and you don't really know what you're doing, right? Sometimes you need help. And a lot of times it comes from a friend who maybe has already beaten the segment, or maybe from a guide. You go to a guide, say, hey, I don't know where to go next. I'm stuck. I beat the cleric beast. I don't know where to go next. But also there's a slew of people who are just like, I want to be lost. I want to go through a game. I want to be lost. I want to explore and find out what I need to do next. So there's already resources for this, for nudging you in the right direction and help where you need it. And I think that YouTube videos, Let's Plays, and stuff like that are a fine place to get some nudges in the right direction. Normally, if I'm stuck in a game, whether it be on stream or on my own time, yeah, sometimes, if like an hour goes past or if 30 minutes goes past and I'm still stuck trying to solve something or do something, if I'm frustrated enough or if I'm just like not, I just want to get past it, right? I'll look at a Let's Play. So maybe this whole patent thing is not as bad as I think it is, but also at the same time, if you're just going to have an AI go in there and be like, I think you should push this box over here, and then you do it, or if the AI just does it for you, once again, it's like, what's the point of like playing the video game itself? Just watch a YouTube Let's Play, or just have the AI complete the game for you. I remember back when it was either Super Mario Bros. U or Super Luigi U came out. There was like this mode where you could watch the AI or the devs like beat the level for you, and it's kind of like that same idea of like, okay, so you're just watching what they do and you're doing it, right? The same thing can be said here, where it's like the AI is telling you what to do and you do it, or the AI does it for you and then you could repeat it if you wanted to. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on this. It is just a patent at the end of the day, and with them patenting this technology or this idea, that means that someone else couldn't just use this idea for their own use, which is, I guess, a good thing at the end of the day, meaning that we won't have a bunch of AI-assisted models coming out from various places. But also, too, at the same time, I don't like this idea of like an AI character beating the game for you or whatever. They already have the PlayStation Plus like tips hotline, so maybe this would be a part of that too, where it's like in the PlayStation Plus section you could turn this on if you own PlayStation Plus or if you use PlayStation Plus. I don't know. At the end of the day, too, it's like with the PlayStation Plus system where where there's hints and tips. It's literally the same thing, except it's a human showing you how to do a trophy or showing you where you need to go next in the level. Right? It's practically the same thing. So now, with this new AI ghost character, they're completely removing, once again, they're removing the human aspect of someone doing it and recording themselves doing it. And instead, it's going to be an AI who was trained off of what it's seen online and been told and taught to do. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if it actually does become something. But as of right now, not super crazy about this idea. There's already ways to do this without it being AI assisted, and PlayStation even already has a system in place that essentially does the same thing. I don't know. It just seems like a dumb idea to me. But hey, maybe there'll be a couple of less thrown controllers at the walls if an AI is just beating Dark Souls for you. We'll save some people money, save some people controllers. All right, finally for the news today. The original Nintendo Switch's Hulu app will be discontinued later this month. So Disney has already said that they are going to start stopping support for the standalone Hulu app. They're going to combine it all into Disney Plus. And now I didn't see if this was going to be taken down from PlayStation or Xbox just yet, and it still is an app on my TV. So obviously, this is just the start of a process. But yeah, the Switch version of the Hulu app is going to be taken down on February 5th, 2026. It will no longer be available to download. I believe it will still be usable for some time, but you will not be able to download it fresh from the eShop starting on February 5th, 2026. And this goes for Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch Lite, and Nintendo Switch OLED models. But like I said, the Hulu app is going to be phased out throughout 2026, and maybe the Switch version of the app is the first one that the license is running out, and they said just let it expire, and we'll make a Disney Plus app either for Switch 2 or for the original Switch or both. The Hulu app has been on Switch since its start in 2017, which is pretty good. Actually, as I'm reading here on NintendoLife.com, it says that the Japanese version of the eShop app only started up in 2022. So that's pretty crazy. Hulu is ending its support on the Switch 1. But like I said, it probably will still be playable. Not playable, but able to use the app for a little while after it's taken down from the eShop. But I'm sure that once they do fully roll over everything into the Disney Plus app, then the app will cease functionality. They'll shut it down for good. But as of right now, just the Switch is being impacted by this, and we'll see if more consoles and platforms follow in the future. All right, folks, let's move on to what's coming soon. All right, the next Mario sports game, Mario Tennis Fever, got a big overview trailer before its release on February 12th. It's also announced that the pre-orders were now available for Mario Tennis Fever if you would like to pre-order that. The offerings for this it looks really good. Mario Tennis Aces was not my favorite of the tennis games, obviously. I thought that it had a good amount of content, but it was just like a bit lacking here and there. This new version of Mario Tennis, which I do think is coming out a bit sooner than I would expect for a Mario Tennis game compared to, Aces like literally came out like 3 years ago at this point. But it does seem like they've improved a lot of the experience from Mario Tennis Aces, and they also added in the new Fever mode where, if you build up enough of a rally with the other characters in the game, you get your Fever abilities unlocked, which allow you to do like ice attacks, fire stuff. You can also have enemies spawn from the ground, like Pokies, some sort of electric balls, the dash racket, which allows you to dash across the entire field. There's 30 Fever rackets in total, and there are 38 characters with the launch of the game. There's 38 characters to use. Now, I don't think each of them have their own special abilities or whatever. They probably all have their own unique stats, sure. But the Fever rackets are ones that you equip to each character, and they all have different abilities to them. The other cool thing that they showed off in this was if you hit the ball before it touches your side of the field, like let's say your opponent does a Fever mode, Fever shot, you can actually, if you hit the ball before it hits your field, you can actually try and move that Fever ability back to the opponent. So if they have a fire shot in it, you can hit it before it hits the ground and put it back over on their side. If it hits on their side, the fire effect will be on their side, which I think is a pretty cool idea there. There are also new combined Fever attacks, which just makes the Fever ability a bit more, I guess, volatile. I don't know what to say there. Also, you have a health bar now, so if you get hit by too many fireballs or you run into the spikies or whatever that are on the ground, your character or the character that's your partner will have to sit out for a little while to regain their health points. There's a lot of characters in this game. They kind of showed the roster at one point, which I'm trying to skim through the video and find. But there's some new characters for the first time ever in Mario Tennis history, like Goomba. There's a stack of Goombas or whatever, which I guess is pretty funny. So on top of that, there's also tournament modes. There's mini game modes. I believe there's going to be a story mode because there are boss fights in the game as well. There's also a new Wonder mode where crazy things will happen, much like in the Mario Wonder game. So you can have things like the pipes growing to different sizes for the net, or you could have the piranha plants singing and running around, right? It seems like there's also a mode where there's training or whatever for the game as well. I think this is a vast improvement from Mario Tennis Aces. I really do. They also revealed that yes, there's going to be game share available for this. You can share it between any console that your friends own. There's also going to be online play as well, of course. There's a new ranked mode as well. You can go across world rankings or friends list rankings or region rankings and stuff like that too, which I think is really neat. I think that's really nice. And at the end of the day, they also revealed that there are some amiibos that have functionality in the game, and the amiibos give you a special ball that looks like the character. So the Mario ball, the tennis ball turns from being just a regular tennis ball to having the M on it, and it's blue and red. So kind of a fun little amiibo thing there. There's not going to be any new amiibos that they've revealed right now for the game, just ones from the past, like Smash Brothers and the Mario Bros line of amiibos as well. But yeah, I think that this game is looking pretty good. I've went ahead and pre-ordered it myself. I think that it's going to be a pretty cool game. So the roster of characters from what I see right here, I'm going to go through each one here. We have Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Princess Rosalina, Pauline, Wario, Waluigi, Toad, Toadette, Luma, Yoshi, Bowser, Bowser Jr., Donkey Kong, Boo, Shy Guy, Koopa Troopa, Green Shell, Kamek, the spiky ball guy, Diddy Kong, Chain Chomp, Birdo, Paratroopa, Petey Piranha, Piranha Plant. Who's this guy? What's this guy's name? It's one of the Koopaling guys. It's the one that's like all buff. I forget which one it is. Blooper, Dry Bones Bowser, Dry Bones, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, Baby Wario, Baby Waluigi, Wiggler, Bandit, is that his name? The little rabbit guy, and Goomba. So those are the 38 characters who are starting the roster. I think it's a pretty good roster. I don't know if there's going to be like variants of the characters or new costumes or whatever you can unlock. It doesn't look like it. But hopefully they do a better version of that than Mario Kart if they do that. Also, I could see them adding more characters in the future as the game moves on. They'll probably do some free updates for the game as well. And like I said, each character has their own stats. So they have Luigi pulled up right now. His speed stat is like a 3. His power stat's a 4. His control stat is a 2.5. His spin stat is a 1.5. And I think this game's going to have everything that a person who's a fan of Mario Tennis is going to want and need. Basic shots and power shots and stuff like that. All the stuff is here. All the stuff is here. So, yeah, Mario Tennis Fever looks like it's going to be a good time. And like I said, I've already personally pre-ordered it myself. But use your own judgment if you would like to pre-order it yourself. Just use your own judgment. Yeah. All right, folks, let's move on. All right, you might have noticed that I did not talk about the New Game Plus showcase that happened this past week, and that's because it was almost 4 hours long. There was a lot of stuff that we already knew about that we just saw more information about, like Denshi attack and stuff like that, just random stuff like that. Now there was one thing in this showcase out of the 3.5 hours that the show went for that actually had some merit to it, and that was Avowed. Avowed is going to be coming to PlayStation 5 on February 17th. And the pre-orders will be available soon for the PlayStation Store. They did not say that there was going to be a physical edition of the game, but there will be a big update, an anniversary update they're calling it, for Avowed. So that's going to introduce some new features like New Game Plus, photo mode, a new weapon type, and new races to play as, along with other things as well. So I think that's a pretty cool thing right here. Like I said, the New Game Plus showcase, kind of a bust in my opinion. It seems like next year they're going to tone it down. They're going to really focus on like major announcements rather than just like everything that they could possibly ever imagine being announced here. Obviously, there was no world premieres here because it was the first time that they did this, but I think there's a lot of things that they need to redo with this whole thing. Like, I don't mind having developer interviews and stuff like that, but those interviews should not be lasting like 20 minutes or whatever, right? Like these things, the show was too long. Even the trimmed down version that removed a lot of the interviews was still about 3 hours long. So it's like, yeah, I'm just not willing to invest that much time into a new thing that really didn't feel like it had a good structure to it. And also at the end of the day, there's really nothing in here that I was super crazy about, like seeing there was nothing that I didn't see already. That maybe there was a couple of games that were like kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. But at the end of the day, I didn't really see anything here that was like making me go, oh, I should watch the whole show, right? So yeah, Avowed is coming to PlayStation 5, which was revealed at the New Game Plus show. That's that. Also, you will be able to physically buy Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation and Xbox soon from Limited Run Games. There are 3 different editions of the game. The base one is going for $40. It's going to include the game and include the deluxe release, which includes 3 DLC costumes, which is pretty nice. Another edition called the Smidge Edition includes 2 Chai outfits, 7 bonus Chai t-shirts, a Bob-themed guitar skin, a Bob alternative skin, 20,000 gears for unlocking combat skills and other upgrades. It'll also include the DLC pack that I already talked about before, and a 3-disc soundtrack including notes from the creators of the soundtrack. So that's pretty cool if you're a fan of the soundtrack, which, I mean, most people are, right? Most people are. But yeah, there you go, Hi-Fi Rush. That'll be for $70. And then Project Armstrong Edition is going to include everything that I just mentioned, but also it's going to include a hardcover art book featuring 90-plus pages of Hi-Fi Rush artwork, a Chai Project Armstrong Pass lanyard type thing, a 6-inch Chai guitar replica, an 8-inch Bob plushie, individually numbered certificate of authenticity, a jumbo glow-in-the-dark spinning MP3 player pin, and, of course, the 3-disc soundtrack will be included here as well. So that is going to be for $174.99, so that includes a lot of stuff there. So if you're a big fan of Hi-Fi Rush, this might be an edition you want to get. But if you just want this for the fact that it is a physical edition of Hi-Fi Rush, $40 is not too bad for this game. I enjoyed this game when I played it, but I thought that the rhythm elements, they weren't like a hindrance, but like there were sections where they were like, oh, do the rhythm or and block these things, and you could just like spam the button and it would work. And I was like, oh, that kind of removes the whole rhythm element from the game, doesn't it? But I thought the visual style, the soundtrack, the combat itself was pretty good. I just felt like the platforming and the rhythm elements were not as well implemented as I was hoping they were going to be. But at the end of the day, that's just my opinion. And if you want to get this, yeah, you can pre-order it between January 16th and March 1st. They did not say when it was going to be shipping. I'm guessing it's going to ship probably by the end of the year. That's the thing with limited run games is if you pre-order something from here, it's going to take a while to get to you because they go into production and all that stuff pretty much after the end of the pre-order period. So there you go. All right, a new PS5 adventure game called Duskfade is coming out in 2026. It is very much inspired by the PS2 era of platformers like Ratchet & Clank and Jak and Daxter, at least the original Jak and Daxter. The trailer itself didn't show too much about the game, but it does have a colorful world to explore, enemies to bash with your sword weapon. It also seems like the sword has a bit of a gun attachment to it as well or whatever. It's obviously very cartoony, very mystical, I would say. The open world itself is not like super crazy sometimes. Like sometimes they do like this big overlooking sweep of the landscape, and it's not like as crazy as I was thinking it was going to be. But when they have these moments that are like going through a clock or through gears or whatever, those sections look pretty good. So I'm guessing they're probably going to flesh out the world before the game comes out a little bit more, maybe populate it with a bit more enemies, right? But yeah, it seems like it's very much inspired by at least Ratchet and Clank here. It looks like you have a little Navi type character with you, and also like the enemy design and boss design seems to be pretty inspired by those games as well. So yeah, this is looking pretty cool. This is coming in 2026. Not a confirmed release date for it yet, but a window of 2026. If you want to check that out, Duskfade. All right, Nintendo has revealed its new Joy-Con 2 colors for the Nintendo Switch 2. This is the first variant of the Joy-Con 2 controller that we have seen. The colors are going to be coming on February 12th of next month, and there's 2 different colors, and it's coming in a combo pack, I think, for $100, which is the normal price for a combo pack. It would be nice if they sold them separately, though. It doesn't look like they are selling them separately at this moment, just a combo pack right now. But the 2 colors are, yes, Yemmy, get to the colors. There is a purple color, a light purple, and a light green, which almost looks more like an aquamarine or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they're calling it light purple and light green. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, why isn't the entire controller this color?" And no, it's just the accents of the controller, underneath the joystick and the magnet rail are all just the color. The rest of the controller is black. It's that sleek black design. Now, a lot of people are kind of disappointed by that. Personally, I like the sleek black design with the accents of the controller, but I do understand like you're buying a whole new controller for this like slight color change. They also comes with the mouse add-on as well, the little mouse grippies on the bottom too. So there's a little bit more color there for you if you use these in the handheld mode. But yeah, I mean, I could see myself being a little bit disappointed with this if I was looking for a more fleshed out controller or just a bit of a different controller color in general. There are third-party websites that are doing mods for these controllers where they do make the entire shell like see-through, or they do make the entire shell green or whatever, but Nintendo themselves are not doing that officially just yet, and maybe in the future we will see something like that. But as of right now, I think they're just trying to keep the marketing the same as when it started up, and that means that keeping the controllers looking the same for right now. But we'll see if there's more variants in the future. All right, Pokemon Pokopia is coming soon on March 5th, and now if you pre-order the game from the Pokemon Center, you will get a free Ditto Cuties plush, with the game as a pre-order bonus, which is worth $10 sold separately. Ooh. But the little plushie is about 4.5 inches tall, and this is like a fun little add-on if you pre-order this through the Pokemon Center starting today. The game itself is priced at $70, and it is still a game key card. So I'm just like, I know I had a goal for myself to buy every first-party Switch release. I don't believe this is a first-party though, because it's being developed by Omega Force. It's only being published by Nintendo. So I think I can skip this one, at least for right now. Maybe I'll pick it up if it's on sale in the future. But I feel like, one, game key card, not a fan of that. Two, I'm also like not a big fan of these types of games, these like Animal Crossing inspired games. I feel like I'm just gonna skip this one. But maybe in the future when it is on sale, I'll end up picking it up. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, the game comes March 5th, and the pre-orders are available now. Get a free Ditto plush if you order through the Pokemon Center. And then finally for today, Nintendo Switch has expanded its GameCube library on the Nintendo Switch 2 with another game. This time it's Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. This is released on both the Japanese version and the American version, or the English version of the Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass GameCube library. If you don't know what this is a game that is a turn-based Fire Emblem game, of course, and it released on the GameCube. This is one of those games that had, like, I remember when Smash Brothers Melee first came out, who's Marth? Who's Ike? We don't know who these characters are. But then eventually they released Fire Emblem Path of Radiance in the US on the 4th of November 2005. And now, of course, now we know who Marth is. Now we know who Ike is, right? These are main characters from Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Yeah, I think this is a nice add-on for the service. And this is one of the games that they promised was going to be coming to the service back when they originally announced the service coming out. Still waiting for a couple of other games like Super Mario Sunshine and Pokemon Coliseum, but this is a nice grab for Fire Emblem fans, or maybe people who haven't played this game and this is their first time seeing it. So that's pretty cool. Also, as a bonus, Nintendo released the game soundtrack on the Nintendo Music app if you have that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Let's go ahead and move on to Guess That Screenshot. If you know the name of the game that the screenshot comes from, let me know either in the comments below or in the Discord in the Fair64 section. I'll give you a super reaction there, or a congratulations in the comments below. Let's go ahead and view today's screenshot right now. All right, once again, if you know what game that's from, let me know in the places that I told you to. All right, folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Very much appreciate that. This comes out every week, and I think the news is going to start really ramping up here. I know that there's some new game releases coming in January, but February is also going to be a pretty busy month as well. So stick around. We got plenty of stuff coming in the near future. If you want to check out anything else I do, it's all at Yemmy the Ferret, whether it be on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, etc. On Twitch, we stream on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Right now, we are playing Dragon Age The Veilguard, which we're doing on Tuesday and Saturdays. And starting on Monday, we're going to be playing Yuka Replayly, which is something that I've been excited about since the game came to my doorstep. So yeah, we're going to start up that on Monday. So be there or be square. Whoa. Also, I run another podcast called Film Freaks with a Z at the end. We talked about the movie Twilight from 2008. This past episode, check that out if you so desire. All right, folks, like I said, anything else is all at Yemmy the Ferret. Don't forget to check out the Twitch clip compilation that's available on the YouTube channel right now. And also this coming week is the compilation of all my video game pickup segments from this podcast, which is going to be released on my YouTube channel as well at Yemmy the Ferret. Make sure you check that out. All right, folks, thank you so much once again. I am Yemmy the Ferret. I'll talk at you next week. So long. The Ferret Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Sound clips included during the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. The intro and outro music was made by Gail Laliot on Fiverr. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions are my own. Thank you for listening.